Good morning. Please find a seat now so we can get started. Thank you. Good morning again, Catalyst. My name is Adriana Garcia, and on behalf of CMN, I want to thank you guys all for being here. For everybody who is here in the room, I know it's early, so thank you for making it out and being here. For everybody that's going to be on Zoom, on Facebook Live, being with us as well. I want to welcome you to Catalyst meeting, and this is a gathering where all the Modesto area leaders and influencers come together. So you can see how important it is to be here, even if it is early. This is a great time to spend together and get to know one another. Also, for everybody online, John will be here to interact with you, so make sure that you are chatting and sending your comments and anything else, questions, concerns, whatever you may have. So some quick items before we get started. If you're here, there's some sheets in the middle of your table, so make sure that you sign in. If you are online on Zoom, make sure that you are muted, your audio is muted. But like I mentioned, please participate, chat, send messages, whatever you need. Now this one is for everybody who is here, participating in person, and to everybody on Zoom and Facebook and all the platforms. Make sure that you check in, make sure that you share this event. It's like I mentioned, we're here to help with promoting Catalyst. So don't be greedy with the information. Share and post and like and comment everything. Also make sure that you follow City Ministry Network. Make sure that you're going on all the platforms and just keep up with everything that they're doing. We're doing some amazing things here, so make sure that you are aware and don't miss out. Lastly, but most importantly, I want to remind you of the purpose of Catalyst that our community is facing. We are diverse people with diverse perspectives that can come together to work for the benefit of our community. Now, our hope that will come with Catalyst is that you will connect with others who share your vision and passion, begin to build trust with everyone here and online and in our community, and collaborate for a greater impact. So on that note, there's some discussion questions on the table. And before we hear from the speakers, let's take a few minutes to connect, to build some trust with those around your table and discuss the two questions that are up on the screen. So give everybody an opportunity to answer, and go ahead and do that now. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Erica Ignacio. I work with Stanislaus County Chief Executive Office. I am the community manager. And today what time is this? He says at 6:50 in the morning. I'm like, can I take that back? But here I am. I took a large cup of coffee today in the morning, and I am here to introduce these two amazing men. So I wondered how I was going to do this. I'm like, do I keep it professional? Do I keep it personal? And I said, you know what? Why not mix it up? So I did a little of both. So bear with me one second. When I read about and Joe, two amazing individuals that just come to mind. In the last year and a half, I have had the pleasure of working with both of them. And I have appreciated so much the support that they give to the community, and I'm going to be selfish and say to me as well. One of the major things that we faced during the last year and a half, and I think we can all go through this, is about COVID, and that's how I was actually introduced to Marvin and to Joe. Being a government employee, it made it really difficult in the community, and again, that's where Marvin and Joe came in, along with the Latino Emergency Council and several other individuals that ended up joining that committee. And when we were trying to navigate making sure that we can deliver those resources to the community, make sure that they had up-to-date information and a consistent message to avoid having confusion, Marvin and Joe didn't stop at that. They made sure that, hey, Erica, there's a gap in this. Erica, we're hearing this. How about doing something like this? And again, I keep highlighting Marvin and Joe, but it was a group effort, but they were one of the most vocal ones, if you will. You all know Marvin. He doesn't hold back. And he would always do it in an amazing, gentle way. Can we help you to do this? Again, it wasn't like, here's the error, here's the gap, fix it. It was about, here's what we're hearing, what can we do? How can we help? So again, it was, they were just phenomenal when it came down to building that trust and that communication out in the community and building those partnerships and collaborations. Now they're also both involved in an amazing effort to set disadvantaged county residents on a path to heading this effort along with several partners. And again, I couldn't think of any better group to do this. Recently, I was also able to get involved in their Latino Leadership Initiative. Man, that was a beautiful experience. To see all those young future leaders hungry to bring about change, to see that they held no anger towards government or anything that has impacted them personally, but they use it to fuel their desire to bring about change. That was pure and refreshing. Things still can change. Personally, we have experienced a lot together. It comes with the fact that we're public servants. We know that. But unfortunately, sometimes the passion and the frustration in the community becomes a personal attack on the individual that might be caring about what we were charged to do. So I can tell you that I have seen anger, frustration, lack of trust, disappointment, triumphs, recognition, and loss. They both have so much more experience than I do. And I can tell you there's been times that we've been at board meetings and we hear some of the feedback that is being said by the community, and we just look at each other and we know exactly what we're thinking. We continue to remind ourselves that it's okay to be upset and disappointed. It's okay to feel challenged and personally attacked, but remind ourselves that the majority of the time individuals are just passionate and not necessarily blaming us. Honorable, transparent, and they don't criticize me or judge me for it. So that's the type of relationship that we have. In 2020, Marvin and I worked very closely, like I said, sharing information about COVID. And we both, unfortunately, experienced loss. And this part is really hard for me. Very much involved in sharing information about COVID, the resources, educating the community in general. But nonetheless, recovery rate, it's only 0.0001 or whatever the case may be. And to Marvin and I, that was our 100%. It wasn't about the 0.001. So again, Marvin, the team, Joe have both been amazing individuals, as I said, to allow me to be vulnerable. And now you have all allowed me to do that as well. So I could not be more proud to introduce Marvin and Joe to your guys' group. You guys all know who they are, but I'm sure that there's just a little bit more of a personal touch that I wanted to share about them and let you guys know that they're just, to me personally and professionally, they're amazing individuals and amazing resources. So thank you. help me welcome both Joe and Marvin up here.
Jeez.
Thanks, Erica. Goodness. Thank you.
I don't know how to handle that.
So we're going to answer 3 questions this morning. And just real quick, what does City Ministry Network do? What do we want you to feel come out of this time, and what do we want you to do? And I want you to get something, because there are so many times, each one of you have different experiences. If all you know is about Catalyst, you think, oh my gosh, all City Ministry Network does about Catalyst. We took a survey of about 80 community members over the last couple of months, and there were some, and maybe it's a marketing issue for us, but it probably is, some of it. Well, all you do is Catalyst. All you do is leadership initiative. I want you to get something. If you miss everything, and I want you to get it, oh, Doc got it. That's what we do. Now, you get to decide as a community whether strengthening people and encouraging them in their humanness, figuring out a space to connect together so we can trust each other to work together, because you know in this community, if we don't trust, that's what we do. You get to decide, is that really important? Now, in your mind, you might be, and bless you, you might be one of those, well, what widgets do you make? And those are important, please, those are important. But this last year, I asked our staff, give me the numbers of people that you connected with between January 1 and November 1 of this year. 8,800 people. That was individual, one-on-ones, coaching, consulting people. And that's the tone that we bring into our spaces. Now, as the community, we have to decide together, is that really valuable? Or is it more valuable to do something else? And then there's other groups that do other things. So what do we want you to know? We're going to give you a bunch of stuff. What do we want you to feel? That what's happening, and part of my challenge has been City Ministry Network is not about me. It's about all of us. And to creating a space and a container for all of us to work together. And then we want you to do that. You'll do your... you hear a lot from, we're friends, so you're going to hear this. We got to be real careful, because we'll...
I know.
Especially him, because he gets a little loose
it's
with his
hard
words.
not to. But.
Zechariah 8:4-5, where it says, when God of the angel army shows up in Jerusalem, and I use Modesto or Stanislaus County, old men and women will be found leaning on their canes, walking in safety at night. Senior adults walking in safety at night. A good place. And children will be found playing in the streets. A good place to grow up in and to grow old in. And that's what we want to see. That's our unachievable goal. This would be an incredible place for you to grow up in and grow old in. And I know in this season, there's some of you that go, oh my gosh. And we all have that spectrum. The truth of it is, we want to do that for here. That's just a great place to grow up in and to grow in. And we want you to join us and be your part. We're going to show you just a 2-minute video, 3-minute video. And just to give you an overview, and then we'll start the Cheech and Chong show here. So,
Oh, it's actually Dumb and Dumber, but that's
Dumb and
okay.
Dumber. You get to choose which one's dumbest.
Welcome to City toward good work for the transformation of Modesto's neighborhoods. We are actively working to build relationships with other organizations working to inspire and equip leaders in our community. Through our partnerships, we help support those organizations to better serve our community. The Latino Leadership Initiative seeks to increase the core competencies of emerging Latino civic servants, open to growth, change, community engagement. The Latino Leadership Initiative will take sources, insights, and skills for properly engaging with those within your field of interest in serving our community.
When we started Catalyst, we discovered that there were so many things that were not getting done and were not being progressed upon because people just didn't trust and know each other. So we created a Catalyst space where community influencers can come together to connect relationally. Catalyst is a monthly gathering of leaders that come together regularly to build trust relationships. Stanislaus County are welcome to come and participate with. See if it fits for you, see to have coffee with or get together with later on so that you can begin to know who they are, what motivates them, just get their perspective. So many times we look at our community issues and we only see our own issue or the issue from our tribe. And so at Catalyst, you might bump into somebody who has a different perspective, a different view that will live better in our community so that you can know and be better informed of what's happening in the community, what people care about, and how you can be a better influencer from that information.
We'd like to invite you to participate in City Ministry Network's mission through financial giving. CMN is funded by concerned and generous individuals, local congregations, and grants. If you would like to financially invest in the mission of City Ministry Network, please use our online donation tool by visiting www.cityministrynetwork.org/donate. Thank you.
So we want to highlight, and then I'll bring my friend back up here. Just want to highlight our mission, vision, and our strategies. And our mission surely is to come alongside, and I'm just going to read it to you. Mark, put that up there, would you please? I know I wasn't supposed to read, but I'm going to have you read it. I'm going to read it anyway. That's our vision, to see our city become, our county, a good, safe place for all in which to grow up and grow old in. And then there's some words on our mission I want to mention to you. Listen, advocate for our most vulnerable communities, to work collectively, pray, to be humble leaders, to multiply, to be kinship builders, and to be courageous. And I can tell you, every one of our conversations, of the 8,800 we had this year, has something to do with advocating, connecting, convening, developing, and steward. We were finding that we wanted our city to be a good place to grow up in and grow old in, and the county to be a good place to grow up and to grow old in. But there was a sense where we needed to develop leadership, the skill, and even the character of is that we're finding, you can push back on your own sometime, as the world is getting like it is, we've got to get smaller. We've got to get smaller. We've got to focusing in on our communities, our smaller communities, not at the expense of those that are not part of our communities or tribes. So I want to introduce to you my friend Joe Duran, who is also City Ministry Network Chief Financial Officer. About 6 years ago, he and I and Ruben Imperial and Linda Duran, we were in a lounge area. I'm not going to tell you it was a bar, but it was a lounge. All right.
Marvin, it was a bar.
And we were all volunteers, and I was doing 2 jobs at one time, but not getting paid for City Ministry Network. And we just said, let's get serious about this. And the community really rallied. All of you rallied. Immediate administrative structure that nobody understood, right? But you know, they fund us for it, they tax us for it. And then Joe put together this crazy budget that made no sense, but we did it anyway. And here we are. And,
but add the little part where you let us know that you were leaving your job.
Yeah, so I wasn't supposed to quit my job as soon as I did, but I went to the boss a few days later and said, I'm going to be quitting.
Saying, we took your advice. We jumped off the cliff. I quit, so you need to go raise some money for me. That was it.
So make a quote for this. Safe is not always wise. Yeah, I could have been safe. I guess I'll go flip beans at Taco Bell.
That's right.
That's right. Joe, you're on the script, so you're next. You want to say something nice about me?
I really do. Okay. And one thing that did jump out to me before I say some kind words about Marvin, you know, is the word trust and kinship. I think that the next level of trust becomes kinship. And there's something significant about that, where you trust people, but then collaborate together. We're going to share our lives with each other. I'm going to care about you. You're going to care about me. And that really is something that I've seen happen this past year. And boy, when a community has kinship, there's nothing that can stop them.
We spend quite a bit of time with a lot of pain, whether it's anger or depression, whatever that would be. And to be able to connect and come alongside without any other motives other than I just want to be your friend, it's a big deal for people. So if that resonates with you, make a note of that and text somebody and say, I was thinking about you and love you and we're friends.
So Marvin,
But if you all know Joe, we just jumped to question 20, whatever that is. Stanislaus Community Foundation and Stanislaus County began to observe around the country that there were some gaps in the vehicles in which they were meeting the needs of our most vulnerable communities. And I always say most vulnerable because all of our neighborhoods are vulnerable. All of them are in one sense or another. And so our most vulnerable communities. And so whether it's a neighborhood, a geographical area, or a culture or ethnic group. So So they put together a whole survey and discovered that one of the gaps in our service delivery systems was the fact that we did not have a community development corporation. And since they looked around and said, who has the relational capital and the ability to pull this? I'm not always sure what a community development corporation is either. But City Minister Network is a faith-based 501c3. We're faith-based. We're proud of it. We make no bones about it, and I'm not apologizing. On the other hand, we needed to birth for our community a faith-influenced or a whole separate type of nonprofit. And that's just how the funding works, and that's how it goes. If you have any questions, you can ask Joe about that later. But Joe, now
Really focuses in on the revitalization of the community, especially those segments of the community that are underrepresented, underserved, and really becomes an advocate, not just from an outsider's view and looking in, but embedding themselves into the community and really from the community itself in the work that I've done over the last 30 years.
And you've been very passionate about this, what you're doing.
Yeah, is access to capital. I mean, you have so many individuals in our community that I've seen situations where individuals buy a car and they're paying 29% interest rates on their car. And generally, when they buy their car, they're buying it at about loans and all those things. But the home run for me and for us in the organization that I ran prior, which was a credit union, was the home run is transfer where they can become homeowners.
And we've discovered in Stanislaus County, poverty is generational. So poverty in Stanislaus County in a lot of our neighborhoods are generational. And we believe that breaking the cycle of generational poverty in Stanislaus County is key. It's worth $300,000. So the fact that my mom and dad, even through all the years of whatever they did, broke that cycle of generational poverty, we think that's huge for us. We think that's vital.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is those nonprofits, those individuals in leadership that really get this, that really want to do something about that. And we become kind of the hub, where we identify needs exceptionally well, the opportunity Stanislaus, et cetera. And the other thing too is, since we're a community development corporation, it allows us to go after grant funding, and that grant funding is not necessarily specifically for us. We're able to re-grant that money in areas, for example, down payment assistance programs, and just other assets that are normally not. And I think that the key here is being birthed out of this, we don't have employees, really. There's 7 or 8 of us, but it's like we own this. We're working. What about the individuals that are, that don't have homes? What about the young moms, that don't, young moms that don't have a place to stay? What about our students that are sleeping in their cars? Those kinds of things.
Yeah, and Stanislaus Equity Partners is what it's called, is part of our strategy. The slide that says strategies, I want you to notice this as Mark puts that on the screen behind me. It's coming. All right, I can just pull it up here.
You want me to pull it up for you, Marvin?
I thought Mark was going to pull it. Mark, can you pull up strategies? Is it behind me?
No,
it's not. The strategies is about advocates. It's been all over us. We've had to be creative about how we approach the issues that are facing our families. And we've had to be creative. We had to get creative. So that's been a big deal for us.
So Marvin, let's see. You were going to ask me. See, here I go again. I'm jumping the ship again.
Yeah, you jumped all over the place.
Go ahead. I'm gonna
so just with STEP, what about you? Tell us about one strategy and why you're excited about it.
There's so many different needs in our community. I mean, it becomes overwhelming, especially when you talk about the need for housing. The need for.
And we're in a housing crisis.
We're in a
big time.
I wouldn't call it a crisis. It's a disaster.
Disaster. Okay.
Yeah, and then also with a child needs to bring in at least $28 an hour, and those jobs aren't there. So you find yourselves, in a situation where you're one on the edge. So those things. But I think the thing that's really exciting for me, that's for right now for our team, is we are building what's called tiny home villages property, and I'd never thought about that before. And they came to me and they said, we have 120 churches that we've identified that have excess property. So we have 2 projects right now that are in the pipeline. One of them is in Riverbank, and on that particular piece of property, we're getting ready to put in 10. And there's innovative ways of really making this happen. So if you're low to moderate income in our county, specifically in the city of Modesto, you can have up to 70 to 80% of the construction costs paid for. So we're able to drive down the cost significantly. And then the other thing is we entered into a relationship.
Call it when you were there.
Where I live?
No, in the prison. What they call it when you were there?
Oh, they called it
Correction
prison.
facility.
They called it prison. Like, home. But yeah. So there we found out that they were building modular units for vocational and then tearing them down. And we're able to build 400, 600, and 800 square foot units that we're able to drop on a foundation that have all the amenities. And so it brings this life to individuals that are in the prison system, giving them training, and then also then we're able to bring at a lower cost, right, these types of projects, so they're able to pencil out.
Yeah, and technically, if you were in any of our leadership meetings, you will see we do have a template for making decisions on what we do, what we don't do, projects we say yes to, projects or efforts we say no to. For all of us, though, here's been one thing. What do I have in our heart? And then what's in our hand? What are the resources that we had? We have a relationship. Joe is my heart. What do I care about? And then what do I love? And then what are my resources? What are my resources? And so Step was birthed.
Yeah, I think that somehow but there's something of some optimism and hope that we have, and that many of us that we work with have, and that many of you have, that you know what, things don't have to stay the same. You know, there is an opportunity, and there's this window of opportunity that Marvin, I'm going to use a Marvinism right now. I sense it more than I know it.
I feel it more than I know it.
Yeah,
Okay,
but my
that's a joke,
interpretation,
okay.
I sense it, because I don't like feelings. You don't like feelings. But anyway, I feel it more than I know it. And it's that, and we talked about that at our table here too. There's something of momentum and opportunity that is in front of us. And so if we're to be steadfast and think that individuals that have struggled their whole lives and have family struggles, and I mean, have an opportunity to participate in a community that
Just do you have in your hands? Now, if you see me around, oh yeah, I went to school with so-and-so. But I had so many resources, and I came to the game a little bit too, well, in the right time, but I could have done that sooner. What do you have in your heart? What do you have?
I'm not going to ask you that. I was going to ask you something else. No, I'm just teasing. Okay. So,
me,
Marvin, what are some of the things?
We birthed a machine, and wonderful. It's amazing. It's just what had to get done. Where I'm excited about a couple different things. One is I had breakfast Saturday morning with an old neighborhood, a grandfather, an influencer, third grade education, raised 2 kids that are wonderful people, human beings that are contributors in the community. That was was a joy for me. The other one that I'm really excited about, and so the neighborhood work, the development that John Torres and others are doing, the neighborhood leadership. But the other one is we're really excited about, we found a lot of energy in is youth leadership development, whether it's Wade Patton with youth empowerment, whether it's Latino leadership initiative. And you might be asking, well, why is it Latino? Why couldn't it just be leadership initiative? Well, I want to say this to you. I was walking down the stairs, and I got there a little bit early. I looked to my left, and I saw, there's all the pictures of the Board of Supervisors over the last 150 years. If you get a chance, look at those pictures, and you'll notice one thing. They're all men, and they were all...
Yeah,
take that out.
Could we
take
give
that,
him a
take
hand
that out of the
for
video.
that?
But here's what I discovered. What do I have in my heart, and what do I have in my hand? I wake up every morning wanting to develop leaders and development people. What's in my heart? My resources. Dude, let's get intentional about leadership development for our Latino community. Here's why. 48% already of our county is Latino. And we have to figure that out. Now, please don't hear, I'm not investing any energy right now today in systemic racism. That's a whole nother conversation. And if that sentence triggered you, I'm sorry. So I'm really excited. But we've already graduated 58 young people. And we already have, 40 applicants for the next cohort that starts in December. So if you know somebody, and by the way, we call it Latino, but everybody's welcome to come. You just got to go through the rigorous process of an application and an interview, and we don't mess around. Why? We don't have time to be messing around anymore. No time.
It was about effective board membership, and my favorite part of today was having the privilege to meet and to meet.
Really proud about this group is all 15 of them are now on boards of directors here in Stanislaus County. Yeah.
Prophets, they were all mentored. Erica Ignacio mentored Maricela Cruz, and Erica hope you'll mentor again. And the other ones, the young ones, I'm being made and say, shape our community. Because this, and I'm excited about the future of our community. No matter what you see, listen, we're in good hands.
That's right.
It's our responsibility to create spaces to get them in those rooms. Hey, morning, Myra. So you want to ask me where CMN has had good results over the past year?
Well, I thought I just did, but
data. So if you're a grant writer, I love to tell stories. Oh my gosh, let's bring up Myra or Pedro. Let's bring them up and let's tell a story. And some of you are like that, right? And I love that. On the other hand, there are some of us that are qualitative that say, well, show me the numbers, show me what we're doing. So I've asked Mark to come on up. He and Jessica Philbrin. Come on.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to introduce and let you guys know that we also summarized all the events that happened throughout this year with our first annual impact report. We did it on a fiscal year basis from last year to this year, and it's now available today. Show you all the work we've done throughout the year. Wonderful work as they've recapped some of it. There was a lot of it that was left out because, as you know, we have a limited time this morning, but you'd be able to dive a lot deeper into what we've done throughout this last fiscal year. Especially during a pandemic. We did a lot of pandemic support for business throughout our community partners throughout this year. So I encourage you once again, cityministrynetwork.org. You can scroll down. It's even mobile friendly. You're able to look at it on your phone. You'll find it say download report and it'll just open right up. So let me know if you have any questions after and I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you all.
Thanks, Mark.
Mark is so...
Because you won't do it right. So he wanted to... he did. Right. So he wanted to come up and do it.
He's right.
Yeah, he is. He's great. So for those of you who want to see them, and then you'll say, "Dang," that's how you talk. Dang.
You know, Marvin, one of the things that really comes to me in regard to what we've been doing, and even with our organizations, is the need to be able to pivot, to be in the world, in our country, and in our community, and being able to say, you know what, maybe we're not getting this right over here, and have a course correction.
So yesterday he says, oh, Marvin, we're going to 20. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now look at somebody.
hang on.
It's
so hard not to. I really love it. But gosh, for such a time as this.
That's right.
We wake up in the morning and we can look at things and say, God, this is tough. Or we could look at things and say, and that you do too, because there's something so powerful about community.
And what you've seen, if you look at the impact report, what we talked about, these are what has been on our heart, and your calling and your assignment on this planet is to make this city a good place to grow up and to grow old in. And there's no excuses. This gentleman, he looks a lot older than me because he worked in the fields most of his life. So I said, hey, how old are you? And he told me his age. I go, oh, dang, I'm older than you, because I was older than him. We talked about pivoting. I drive my board crazy on this. I think it has to be projects, and it has to be this. Good for you, and I'm glad. We need you. We are going to continue to develop community. We're going to continue to connect. We're going to develop people. Those are our spaces like Catalyst. We still have spaces with church leaders and other spaces that we need to re-implement. Every one of our staff, Mike Gunnarsson, Mark Garcia, and then, of course, the STEP staff.
Yeah, Mike Gunnarson's only worked for us for 6 years. You don't know his last name
Yeah, I don't
yet,
even know his last name. So youth leaders development, and when we talk about the community, we talk about neighborhoods, and so we let the chips fall where they may, and we all need to be a part. I look at Brian has his role,
Yeah, man.
you know, his
Yeah.
calling. You know, Courtney Kaufman, she's going to come on up next, and thank you so much. She is our board president, and so she's my boss. So, how's that? And as I bring her up, I do want to say, let's go. I get all teary-eyed when I say, we have no time to waste, and you have no time to waste. Let's get on with it. Life is short, and the opportunities are incredible in this crazy season. So I want to encourage you, what's in your hand and what's in your heart. Web and the support, but you do your part too. Thanks so much. And go to the website and take a look at Impact Report. Boss?
Thank you. Can we thank Marvin and Joe one more time? So I do have the privilege of serving on the board of directors. I'm going to keep it quick because we are at stations we want to have on what kinds of speakers. A long time, a real long time. In prison, sure. What the outcome of that can be. So the connections that you make today, the coffee dates you make, the lunch dates, the way that end with that. If you can take a few minutes, make a coffee date, and who knows what could happen in the next 20 to 30 years, that's what we're about. So thank you for being here. I'm going to close this in prayer, and we're going to let you go to your day. Jesus, I thank you for today, for these friends.